Donald Trump loves a good story, especially when he's the hero. He's a master at crafting narratives that put him at the center, larger than life, fighting for the American people. Whether it's on stage or online, Trump knows how to spin a tale that sticks in people's minds. One of his favorites? Tariffs. He calls himself the Tariff Man, wielding tariffs like a superhero's weapon, ready to defend America from foreign threats. In his version, tariffs are a simple fix, a tool that brings instant justice. At rallies, he claims China is paying billions directly to the US Treasury, making it sound like America is finally getting tough and winning. The crowd cheers, believing the money is flowing in from overseas, a victory for the home team. It's a simple, powerful narrative. America was being taken advantage of, and Trump put a stop to it. The message is clear. Under his leadership, the country is no longer a pushover. He repeats this story everywhere. Press conferences, tweets, campaign speeches, hoping repetition will make it true. The more he says it, the more it becomes part of the political conversation. But here's the reality. A tariff is a tax imposed by the US government on imported goods. It's not a penalty paid by foreign countries, but a charge collected at the border. When those goods arrive, it's American companies that pay the tax, not China. The bill lands squarely on the desks of US importers, who have to figure out how to cover the extra cost. The cost is either absorbed by the business or passed on to consumers as higher prices. Everyday Americans feel it at the checkout line, whether they realize it or not. The money flowing into the Treasury comes from American pockets, not foreign ones. It's a hidden tax that quietly chips away at household budgets and business profits. This isn't up for debate. It's basic economics. Every credible economist, from left to right, agrees on this fundamental point. Trump's story is a fantasy, a fundamental misrepresentation of how tariffs work. It's a myth designed to sound tough, but it doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Economists across the spectrum agree. American importers pay the tariffs. The consensus is overwhelming, and the evidence is clear. The financial burden falls on American businesses and families. Small businesses struggle to stay afloat, and families stretch their paychecks further to cover rising costs. Yet, Trump's narrative persists, designed to make supporters feel strong and secure. It's a story that taps into pride and patriotism, even if it's built on shaky ground. The truth? The story is a lie. It's a political illusion, repeated so often that it starts to sound real. And it's a lie with real consequences for the very people he claims to help. Workers, farmers, and families all pay the price, often without realizing why their costs are rising. The American economy, not China, shoulders the cost. Jobs are lost, businesses close, and communities feel the impact. The repetition of this fiction is a political tactic, not an economic reality. It's about winning votes, not telling the truth. It's a classic case of saying something until people believe it. The more it's repeated, the harder it is to untangle fact from fiction. But no matter how many times it's told, the facts don't change. Reality doesn't bend to political spin. The Tariff Man's tale is just that, a tale. A story crafted for applause, not accuracy, and one that leaves real Americans paying the price. Here's the twist. Most Americans aren't fooled. Polls show a majority understand that tariffs are paid by American companies and consumers, not China. Everyday experience backs this up. Prices rise at the store, on construction projects, and for farmers hit by retaliatory tariffs. This isn't abstract economics, it's lived reality. The public's common sense cuts through the political spin. They know there's no such thing as a free lunch. The idea that China is writing checks to the US just doesn't add up. Yet the lie persists from the highest office, creating a strange disconnect. The public knows the truth, but the official story doesn't change. Why? The answer lies in the press room. Trump's commitment to his tariff story is relentless, unwavering in the face of mounting evidence and criticism. He states it as fact, at rallies, in press conferences, on Twitter, repeating the claim over and over. China is paying the tariffs. This isn't new. It's been his central talking point since the trade war began, echoing through every major speech and interview. He uses it to justify economic pain, framing it as China's burden, not America's, and painting himself as a defender of American jobs. When challenged, he dismisses critics as unpatriotic or biased, accusing them of siding with foreign interests over American workers. He's created a closed loop where only his version of truth matters, and any dissent is cast as fake news or political sabotage. Admitting Americans pay would mean admitting failure, a self-inflicted tax that hits families and businesses at home. So, the fiction is maintained at all costs, with every appearance and statement reinforcing the narrative. The repetition hammers the point home to loyal supporters, even as evidence mounts against it and economic realities bite. The audacity is striking. He asks the country to ignore their own wallets, their rising bills, and believe his narrative instead. This places a heavy burden on the press, the supposed arbiters of truth, tasked with cutting through the noise and holding power to account. Yet the press often falters in the face of this relentless fiction, struggling to break through the wall of repetition and loyal belief. The result? The lie persists, unchallenged, echoing through headlines and conversations across the country. The facts are clear, the data is available, but the narrative remains stubbornly intact, shaping public perception. And the institutions meant to hold power accountable struggle to keep up, often left chasing a story that refuses to change. In the White House briefing room, reporters are supposed to challenge power. But when Trump repeats his tariff lie, a strange silence often follows. Instead of direct confrontation, reporters ask indirect questions or move on. The conventions of decorum and the chaos of the news cycle make it easy for the president to sidestep the truth. The result? The lie goes unchallenged, broadcast to millions. This passive approach erodes public trust in the press. The watchdog becomes a bystander, and the public, who knows the truth, is left waiting for real accountability. Let's break down a typical press exchange. The president claims, China is paying billions in tariffs. A reporter, following tradition, asks about future tariffs, accepting the false premise. The conversation moves forward, but the foundational lie is never addressed. This isn't journalism, it's stenography. Even when conflict is introduced, the president pivots, never forced to confront the core falsehood. The press plays by old rules, while the president rewrites them. Until reporters challenge the lie directly, the public gets a muddled picture. Fact and fiction are given equal weight. The information war is lost before it begins. There's a growing gap between what the public knows and how the press performs. Americans see through the tariff lie, but journalists with the platform rarely state the truth plainly. This frustrates and alienates viewers, eroding trust in the media. The press's focus on political strategy over substance leaves people feeling unrepresented. The real issue isn't just tariffs, it's a broader failure of political journalism. When the press won't call a lie, misinformation flourishes. The public wants clarity, not palace intrigue. Journalism must defend the factual basis of democracy. That means asking direct questions and closing the gap between public understanding and press performance. How can the press do better? It starts with direct, fact-based questions. Reporters must stop accepting false premises and instead state the facts. Mr. President, tariffs are a tax paid by Americans. Why are you taxing your own people? This forces a confrontation with reality. Persistence is key. When deflected, follow up. With respect, that doesn't answer the question. Why do you keep saying China pays? Coordination helps. If one reporter is shut down, the next should ask the same question. Imagine several reporters pressing the same point. It becomes impossible to ignore. This approach transforms briefings from disconnected sound bites to real accountability. It takes courage and a shared sense of purpose, but it's essential for holding power to account. The public deserves nothing less. A simple, direct question cuts through political fog. Mr. President, a tariff is a tax. Are you raising taxes on Americans? It's hard to dodge. Evasion itself becomes revealing. This isn't about being combative, it's about precision and public service. Simple questions align the press with the public's common sense. They build trust and credibility. Jargon-filled questions let politicians escape. Plain questions force clarity. Why did washing machine prices go up after tariffs? Is harder to ignore than economic jargon. The truth about tariffs isn't complicated. By sticking to undeniable facts, reporters reclaim their role as guardians of truth. No one, not even the president, is entitled to their own facts. That's the press's vital service to democracy. This isn't just about tariffs or journalism. It's about democracy itself and the values that hold our nation together. The issues at stake go far beyond economics or headlines. They touch the very core of what it means to be American. A functioning democracy needs a shared set of facts, a common understanding of reality that allows citizens to make informed choices and hold their leaders accountable. When leaders lie and face no real accountability, the foundations of democracy crack, and trust in our institutions begins to erode, sometimes irreparably. Honest reporting is the antidote to cynicism and misinformation. It's the shield that protects the public from manipulation and confusion. The debate over tariffs is legitimate, but only if we agree on who pays. Without clarity, the public is left in the dark, unable to judge the true impact of policy decisions. If we let leaders lie about simple facts, what else will we accept? The line between truth and falsehood blurs, and democracy suffers. The press must find the courage to speak the truth, simply and directly, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. They must ask the questions that matter, not for gotcha moments, but for public discourse, so citizens can see through spin and get to the heart of the issue. The story of Trump's tariff lie is a test for American journalism, a challenge to its integrity and its role as a watchdog for the people. How the press responds will shape the future of truth and accountability. The stakes are high. Democracy depends on it, now more than ever.